A white nationalist loses his city council seat. In a city named Enid, Oklahoma, there is a city council member who had been in office for a long time, and he lost his seat in a recall election. Why? Well, because we found out about his ties to a white nationalist group. The man had ties to a white nationalist group. The man's name is Judd Blevins. You see him here, probably waving to the Ku Klux Klan. Can't say for sure, but that's the story I'm sticking to. But the man is a white nationalist who lost his seat to Cheryl Patterson by 268 votes in a recall election. The reason this all started was because in 2017, he appeared at a march. It wasn't a march on Washington. It wasn't a march for jobs and justice. It was a Unite the Right rally in a city you might have heard of called Charlottesville, Virginia. Judd Blevins was in Charlottesville, Virginia, marching against people who wanted to take Confederate statues down. He was marching with people who said the Jews will not replace us. He was marching with people who believed in replacement theory. He was marching with people who hate blacks, Jews, immigrants. They hate all of us. And this man was their city councilman. And there had been a previous attempt of a censure vote so that they could oust him, but it failed after a man named Dervin Norwood pleaded that the court seek forgiveness. Let me say this again. The man was about to be censured so that they could kick him out before. And the reason this white supremacist, this white nationalist who marches with white nationalists was not kicked out was because Dervin Norwood begged for forgiveness for this man. Now you might say, well, so what? Let me tell you something about Dervin. Dervin is black. Yes, the only Negro in Enid, Oklahoma City Council said, let's forgive this man for marching in a white nationalist march. Now, of course, Blevins, for his credit, says he was never a white supremacist. And part of the reason that he was at the white nationalist march was so that he could push back on anti-white hatred that is so common in media entertainment. Let me say that again. This man is telling us that he's not a white supremacist. He just goes to white supremacist rallies. And Mr. Blevins goes to white supremacist rallies because he wants to fight the rampant hatred of white people that is so, pervasive in this country and in media entertainment. This is even more evidence that the man is racist. So I'm happy that he's gone. I'm frustrated that a black man saved his job one time, because black people are always trying to forgive somebody. We always trying to forgive somebody for something we shouldn't be forgiving people for. I'm tired of forgiving people. I'm tired of forgiving Dylan Roofs of the world when they come up into a church and kill all the black people, and then we got to act gracious. We got to act forgiving. We got to act, with a level of humanity and mercy and justice and grace that these people never did to us. But he did it anyway. But you also got to ask another question, and I'm going to move on. You got to ask another question, though. This man he'd been in city council for a minute, but also he comes from a long family of people, right, in this line of work. How many white nationalists you think are on that council? You think he's the only one, or is he the only one who got caught? And if he's not the only one, then what other small towns have white nationalists? And why do we assume it's just city council? You don't think city councilmen become state reps, and state reps become U.S. congressmen and women and senators, House reps and senators? Our country is filled with white supremacists. They just get caught sometime. And what happened under Trump was that they got more comfortable. They got safer outing themselves. They started wearing little red hats so you could recognize them. But these people who go to the white nationalist rallies, or these people who infiltrate and commit insurrections in the U.S. Capitol, they're not a small number. They're not a small number. And some of them even are on the police force, which is how you end up with some pretty awful and indefensible shootings that get deemed accidents. It's how you end up with unlawful arrests. It's because of the fact that the people in these organizations, in these institutions, are not subtly racist. They don't have implicit bias. They are flat out dyed in the wool racist.